So here we are at summer school. You know, a little summer check-in. Because we finished last semester. I told you we'd be back in the fall, but things happen over the summer. I mean, things happen. One of the things that happened to me is that I got hit with a feeling of hip-hop. So as many people know, in just a few days, Where My Girl's At will be premiering at the Hip Hop Theater Festival in Washington, D.C. We're going to be at the Studio Theater on Thursday, July 8th at 9 p.m. You'll hear more about that later. But in preparation of the hip-hop experience, I had to say to myself, how hip-hop am I? Being in New York, I needed to really reconnect with some New York hip-hop. So I came across this brother, Fedel, minding my own business. He just hit me, bam, like that. And I felt like I had to have a little summertime check-in to let y'all know all about what he's up to. Thank you for being in this summertime check-in. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So tell the people a little bit about yourself. You know, I got exposed to you, but
right.
but where are you from? Who are your influences?
Well, I'm from Harlem, New York. Also
Yes.
spent some time in Queensbridge. I always feel like I need to, put that out
Right.
there as well.
Talk about Brooklyn, baby, Brooklyn.
Definitely Brooklyn as well. That's the the proper thing to say off camera. I mean,
Right, I know off camera, but we don't
that's
want to talk
supportive.
about
But
that.
anyway, I digress. No, but I'm from New York. So really born and raised on a lot of the New York MCs. So everyone from DMX to Jay-Z to Nas, of course, is my favorite rapper.
Really?
Yeah.
But there's something that told you, hey, this is what I want to pursue. This is something. What was that like for you?
It's funny. What I credit more than anything else to me wanting to actually jump into doing it would be DMX's first album, It's Dark and Hell Is Hot. And I know for those of you who heard my music, you'd be like, how did those two even coincide? Right. But to me, it's about more than the whole image. And yeah, he had the shirt off and tattoos, and I'm the complete opposite of that. But to me, it was I went around to the different neighborhoods, or I met people, I knew family members, and this album transcended the kind of gritty audience that they thought it would.
Everybody was listening to
Everyone. I'm talking about adults to kids, white people, black people, Hispanic people, whoever. Everyone was on that album. And when I saw that, I said, wow, this is really a medium to kind of touch people beyond the normal, I'm going to work 9 to 5. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But for me, I just was like, I know I'm here for something greater, and I really think that this is my calling. So.
I mean, and you got to follow your passion.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got to follow your passion, whatever it is, whatever it is. So let's get into the album a little bit. It's called Maybe Tomorrow. What? Maybe what? Bam! Right here, people. Bam! Right here. So I'm not going to ask you to pick your favorite because that would be inappropriate. And we all know I'm not inappropriate. Right. However, if you were to pick a track that stands out for you.
The track to me that stands out the most, that I think is most representative of who I am at this point in my life, is Maybe Tomorrow. And I think that's why I named the whole project Maybe Tomorrow.
Well, it seems appropriate that we just go ahead and listen to part of Maybe Tomorrow.
See a little change on my family is set, y'all. But I got lost in reality, chasing a degree just so I can make a salary, paying all work that I never see a gallery. Flow out of this world, feel I'm in a different galaxy. Things change when money is a factor. Read between the lines, same book, new chapter. Church. I'm right back like I never left.
So what inspired this collection of music?
I think, a lot of people, artists, especially ones that are in the game already, talk a lot about what the internet age has done to music and downloading and how that's taken away from the quality of music. And in a lot of ways it has, sales-wise. And definitely in terms of who has access to making these, one-time bubblegum hits or whatever. But in terms of the people who are in it for the actual art form, I think it's made people step it up. A lot of people, I think, before were into kind of putting fillers into an album or into a mixtape and saying, I'm going to give you 5 hot tracks and whatever else me and my peoples record, we're just going to throw on there.
Just put it on there.
Exactly. Whereas now people are like, you know what? Every one of these songs someone can get for free on LimeWire, or they can pay for $1.99 for that one song on iTunes. Something needs to be there for people to say, I want this whole body of work as a complete canon. You know what I mean? So that, I think for me, is what inspired me going into this, to make sure that every single song counted, every single verse, every single feature, every beat. I'm a producer too, by the way. Put that in there.
You have to.
Counts as well.
So let's talk about lyrics and language.
Yeah.
So the N word is all over this album.
That's
It's in there.
Around.
It's around. It's in there. So here's my question: what about that word is something that you feel like is important to the message that you're giving, because it's there,
Right.
and it could not be.
I mean, I think for me, it's a word that was always around me growing up. And I think, I'm actually glad I have this opportunity to kind of talk about this, that I think the misconception a lot of times is that the younger generation are the ones walking around and saying it. I watch a lot of movies from the 70s, a lot of movies that were to take place in the 70s, where they're, basing the language off of what was around then. Dead Presidents is my favorite movie in the world. Lorenz Tate, great actor. I think he should get more roles. But anyway, in that movie, which is supposed to be based on, in the 70s, they're throwing it around crazy. And the younger people in that movie and the older people in that movie, who, if you think about when the movie was supposed to take place, those people grew up in like the 40s and 50s. I have a grandmother who, she doesn't use it all the time, I don't want to throw her under the bus, but she does use the word as well. I think it's a generational thing in terms of how much it's used and how publicly it's used, but it's definitely something that's been there throughout generations. And I'm from the north, so I can only speak from the northern perspective.
But knowing the meaning that it has, I mean, there's lots of stuff that's been going around for generations and generations.
Doesn't mean it's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like slavery was generations. I'm glad that ended.
Right.
So some would argue, I'm just saying, some would argue that the use of the N-word also needs to end.
Right. So I mean, some would argue that. I at one point argued that. I took a trip. I was fortunate enough to go to Botswana, a country in Africa, when I was a junior in college, and I remember over there I went, and they have a word over there. I think it's keffin or kefir that is the equivalent in South Africa anyway, and it kind of trickled up to Botswana of what the N-word is in English, and especially like during apartheid and stuff. But you never heard them call each other that. But when we did, as soon as we touched down, the little kids would be calling us niggas and calling each other niggas and stuff like that. And it really hit me like, is this what we're putting out there for the masses? America does control the majority of media in the world. And I came back almost like it was a pilgrimage. Like I was like, no, I'm never using the N-word again. I'm never doing this again. And then slowly but surely, it crept back up on me. And I don't know if it wasn't intentional. I'll say that it wasn't intentional. It just was ingrained in my language, but beyond just my physical language, it was ingrained in like my heritage. I guess to answer your question, I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. I'm saying it's complex. And at this point in my life, it's still something that I think is very much a reality in my life, and it's also a reality in the life of the people who listen to my music. But I understand that there is a responsibility that comes along with being entertained. That comes up on my CD. I talk about that. So, I'm not naive to that.
Okay.
It's just complex. I can't really answer it all the way.
All right. So that's going to bring us to the music itself. Now, I told you there are a couple of songs that I really, really, for real needed y'all to hear. Yeah. And, you can hear them live on Friday, July 16th.
Yeah. At the Walker Sound Stage, right off of Canal Street. Probably at this point have a couple of graphics up here so you can see this. I might be right about here. But no, you can come out and see the show. I'm gonna be the 20-minute opener that night, 8:30. Probably start around 9:30. Usually working on CP time in that venue. Shout out to Big Chose though.
Well, we have more time. We'll talk about CP time.
Yeah,
we're running out of time right now. But
every time someone tells me it's not gonna be CP time, it ends up being. We need to break
Can't
that myth.
Can't it just be late people's time? Why does it have to be colors?
You're right.
Colors.
You're right.
You see? That's because there's many of us. It takes us a while to get there.
But it's a great thing. It's a great thing.
You can also see Fedel on Sunday, July 18th at Micia Mosely and Friends. What? Micia Mosely and Friends, what? Yes. It's happening again, this time at the Nuyorican Poetry Cafe. The Nuyorican Poets Cafe. I got to get the name of the venue right. At the Nuyorican. Y'all know the Nuyorican. Y'all need to be there. Lower East Side. You can catch Fedel. You can catch myself. That's good that I'm going to be there because it's called Micia Mosely and Friends. So that would be inappropriate if I wasn't there. Ganessa James and a host of others. Be there. Doors at 7. Show is at 7:30. There is an open mic. If y'all think you got some MCing, poetry, comedy skills that you want to share, come and sign up for our open mic.